saying, man, if the streets ain't talking about you, man. If I can't spin a block and find out about you, man, the people ain't about you, man. That's just what it is, you know?
But I got to
talk about it, man. The streets, man.
Yeah, this one's for the streets first. Stripes like a referee shirt. This one's for the streets first. Tell mama this the rebirth. Say I need church, I talk dirty. Put my hands and my feet work. Teamwork, put in pain, but gotta bring it to the streets first.
It's your boy Butta, and I'm back with another episode of that Streets First Podcast. You already know how your boy do. I goes out and I brings them out. I'm outside in Harlem, as you can see, baby. I'm here with Jessica, Aisha. You know what I'm saying? We in the building. Harlem Chocolate Factory. Yay. Trust me when I tell y'all this, okay? You want to do your homework, you want to do your research. Why? Because we love chocolate, and I'm with the best people that knows about chocolate. First thing first, please let us know, let us know how you guys came up, how y'all got into the chocolate business. Like, please give us y'all perspectives.
Yeah, so thank you so much for doing this with us. You know, we so much love for you. I grew up in Harlem. I grew up in the 90s in Harlem, so I needed activities because I couldn't go outside. And my parents were really, really, really health conscious. So I was just trying to find a way to eat candy. And so I started making candies to have something to do. So I used to make lollipops, chocolates, baked goods, all of this stuff in the house. And then we started to go to like chocolate shows and taste chocolates from around the world. But I feel like I never really saw anything that was reflective of my culture. And so when we were starting Harlem Chocolate Factory, that was like the foundation. I was like, I want to work with chocolate, but what can I talk about, right? Like what perspective am I going to talk about? And I was like, the only thing I know, which is Harlem. I've lived here my entire life. And so that's the basics of how I got into working with chocolate. And that first phone call was to this lady right here. Cause I was like, I know the chocolate and I have some business strategy and I could do the look and the creative direction of stuff, but I need somebody on their P's and Q's, and I could let her talk about how she came into it, but that's how we kind of like came together to get this done.
And now I would love to hear yours.
Yeah, so from, those foundations, fast forward to college years, which is where Jessica and I met at Spelman College in Atlanta.
Shout out to Spelman.
Spelman here.
Okay.
And we were friends there, just being college students. And then after graduation, both ended up here in New York, and really were just kicking it as friends, complaining a lot about corporate America, wondering how this lady is a supervisor. I had to teach her how to do an Excel document. So it was just like so many moments where we were like, this is not it. And then one day she called me like, I went to work today and there's no work because
I forgot. I got my job shut down.
And I didn't know. So I think I'm going to redirect to this chocolate idea. Like, I've been working with chocolate since I was a child, and I want to launch this chocolate company. Come to the living room, come over to the crib. Let me show you what I got so far. And when I saw the initial layout, I was like, this is it. Wow. Because interweaving the history and the fabric of Harlem and allowing that representation through chocolate, which is already underrepresented.
That's right.
Within Black people. I know that was a trigger. Yeah. It's definitely, something that, we can amplify and a story to be told that was yet to be told. So, that's how it started. Then we started with pop-ups, 6-foot tables. Jessica had literally cutouts of bars on cardboard, and we went running from there.
So when you sit back today and you're looking at, you guys, how many years have you been here in Harlem?
So the business started in 2014.
Okay.
We sold our first products in 2015. We opened the store in 2018 on Valentine's Day.
And I have to interject and say, Butta was our first cash customer.
Yes, he was.
He made the very first purchase for Harlem Chocolate Factory.
Yeah.
He also saw us and all the build out and, all the lead up to it. So, I just feel like you've always been a word of encouragement, when you see us outside, just everything. So, you always appreciate it.
The one thing that I really wanted the listeners to understand, because I'm pushing and helping a lot with financial literacy, could you guys give like a little bit of the ins and out of running a business? First, like, how do you start, let's just say a chocolate business, a food business? How do you start those type of things?
Yeah, I think when you're thinking about like getting into the food industry, and I think that this is something collectively as a community that we have to understand, is that it's beyond just the initial thought. You have to think out packaging. You need to think through how you're going to operate. People sometimes get so caught up on the product that they don't work on the business. And so there has to be a business behind that product to make sure that that product can reach wherever it is. I run into people all the time who come up with like 15, 16 different products. And it's like, but you don't have a business to make sure that that goes out. And so I think that what it starts with is really understanding how you're going to structure your business and how that business relates to your life. Because if you are doing something that you're setting yourself up for something you can't do. You have 16 different items you're trying to sell all at once. You probably have enough money to sell one of those things. Like, it costs to sell. And that's the part that people do not really understand. And that needs to be central to where you're starting at, is how that business structure is going to work, how you're going to sell it, where you're going to sell it, what it's going to look like can be worked on later. Is the product of quality? Does it meet the quality that your specific customer? There was a long time that I wasn't a customer of Harlem Chocolate Factory. I ain't have it. Like, Harlem Chocolate Factory a little expensive. Like, like there's certain times like that I'm like, I don't really got it like that. But that doesn't mean I don't keep making these products for the customer. And there was another time where I was like, I'm making my products beyond my customer. We can tone down some elements of this luxury aspect because our customer don't need it. They take in the packaging and they throwing it out. Why am I paying for the thickest chipboard on the planet when we getting outside? You know how many times I walk to go get my car and I look at the trash can and all them boxes in the damn trash? I'm like, yo, you supposed to keep this. Take it out. Take that home. Like, and I'm like, so there are a few different aspects that you have to pay attention to, but I think it really comes central to, do you understand how to set up a business structure? What your product is, people have been selling things for years. You can sell anything, but how's that business structure going to work around selling that item?
Marketing matters.
And consistency. That's also a big one. Even in, setting it up and choosing the things, I see sometimes entrepreneurs, even something like packaging, like you making that box. You making that box because you have 50 to send out. What happens when it's 5,000? Like, you can't make those many boxes. Bro. So, so it's like, even, some of the ideas that, are in your beginning stages, you have to think out, is this something I can sustain consistently? Because people will love your product at first. As soon as you don't have something, as soon as something is not there, it can become a problem. So you also want
a problem. We getting cursed out. People coming here.
We get cursed out because of demand. The demand is very high. But we're putting it out. But it's different if we just like, oh, we don't sell chocolate no more. Or
you're right.
We only doing bars. We don't have no more trouble. People just like, wait, what? So it's like setting up some kind of plan where you can also maintain it through the end and through volume.
So now that I hear both of y'all that y'all are very animated and excited about y'all business, which means y'all have a lot of love and passion for y'all business, I'm just curious about being a Black person and starting your business, knowing that Black businesses is trying to rise right now in the world and doing a lot of different things within that space. I'm just curious, what are like some of the obstacles that you can give like some of the listeners that you might have dealt with that either you overcame or they should probably look forward to, that comes along with the business?
Mm-hmm. I think definitely one of the obstacles is discipline. When you are, at the top, there's no one to say, hey, finish this. Hey, make sure you check your emails all day. Those kind of things. And you have to have the self-discipline to see things through. You also have to be a self-starter and identify problems and actively work on the solutions within yourself without without waiting again for anyone to tell you. And I think that a lot of times it's hard for people, and especially sometimes making that transition from, like a corporate America to working for yourself. You are used to that overhead. But I mean, I can tell you firsthand, if there's a mess and you don't do it, who's doing it? You know what I'm saying? If it's you, it's you. And you have to take on that responsibility and dedication to yourself and to your business.
What about you?
I think that the obstacle that we don't talk about is money. We have to talk about how there just, one, is not enough resource pulling in our communities, and there isn't enough actual liquid cash, right? Like, I think that we think that we can start businesses with nothing. We encourage people. I'm on the internet. Every time I open up Instagram, you should got an LLC, and then by lunch, you could sit down and have a business meeting and write it off. And it's like, what are y'all talking about? Like, that doesn't change anything for anyone. Like, that's every single day of convincing people that they need to be entrepreneurs. Should you have multiple investments and different streams of income? Absolutely. But business ownership is completely different. You need to have access to money to make money. Like, it is not, I try to break it down. You buy one thing for 50 cents. You sell it for $1. When they come by the back too, that dollar you just made, you have to now buy those next two things. Like, that's how it works. You are constantly in a state of re-up. And what people do not understand is, how do you scale that when you don't have access? We don't have home ownership access. We are paid less than every other person in our businesses. So we don't have that access. And so you just thinking or assuming that you're going to go in a bank and show this really good business plan or show even what you feel like might be profitable. And that bank is like, that's not enough to validate nothing. Especially when you reinvest in. Every single time I take that little re-up and use it in my business, they're like, that's not profit. I'm like, how are you saying that's not profit? Like, I used it to make more product, but it don't count as profit. So when we look at our businesses and we look at starting them, we have to have honest conversations about how our community does not have access. And we are allowing these corporations to kind of play in our face around what access opportunities they're giving us.
So if you could, and this is for you as well, if you could enlighten them when it comes to business credit. Like, most people are not understanding even how to get business credit. Like, can you explain to them some of the like ropes when it comes to getting business credit, what avenues you have to go, what loopholes there are, what things you have to watch out for? Because, it's one thing to highlight a business, but then it's another thing to highlight a business that knows how to continue to go.
Yeah.
As you said earlier, ideas are easy, execution is hard, consistency is harder. So when it comes to business credit, could y'all give a little bit more insight on that?
Listen, capital access is something that you're always going to be doing, right? Like, I think that sometimes we say these titles, right? We say CEO, we see COO. We in here working. Like, the titles is for the people. Like, that's between y'all and God. I'm working. You see me take out trash. You see me clean. You'll see that happen. What my actual title though, right? A business itself does need a CEO. What I need to be doing at all times is looking for money. And what happens is, because, and I find this a lot in our community as Black people, we're afraid of like asking for loans. We're afraid of applying for loans. We're afraid of using credit. We pay off things faster than we need to. We sign up for things without reading about the interest rate. And so what I find in the business world is that a lot of times there's a lot of predatory lending. So you have to make sure you're reading and understanding those contracts when you are taking out loans. It's not to turn from them. You need them. You need access to capital because, like I said before, you should not be using your profit to grow your business. That's what I did. And that kind of, honestly, that created a bottleneck for us. It's the thing that's hurt us throughout this time. Like, oh, I'm having trouble with getting, business loans and everything. Forget it. I'm gonna take my salary out and I'm just going to keep funding the business growth. You cannot do that. But it's a sacrifice that Black people make a lot because it's like, I'm not going to keep fighting for to get no loan. And you have to always be funding your business with the outside capital so your profit can be profit. That is the greatest sentiment. And when you're making even more money, when you feel like, oh, I don't need no money, that's when you apply for money. Like when the money is there and it's on the books and you done did, 20, 30,000 in a week. That's when you go to the bank on Monday, like, yo, you see what I did last week? Yo, hook me up. And we like, oh, I don't need no money. I don't need no money. No, you always need money. You always need money because your profits should not be growing. And they say that like, oh no, bootstrapping. That's
and they're not really
they're not really bootstrapping.
I'm sorry, I gotta talk about it. They're not really bootstrapping because also their access to alleviating some of the needs as a startup business owner are in place for them. Housing. I could stay in auntie's crib. I could stay in my parents' crib. Even that is a luxury that a lot of Black people don't have. So those type of offsets of expenses allow you to work in your business without having to worry about certain basic needs. I see a lot of Black entrepreneurs, we bootstrapping, but we also really, really struggling on the personal side. Yeah. And that bootstrapping is about to take you completely under. And we don't realize sometimes how the turmoil of your personal will spill over into your business.
Amen.
You cannot effectively run your business when you don't know if you're gonna have housing. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, all of these things tie in together. And then I also just feel like overall in the conversation of money, there's also a lot of gaslighting from corporations and all these, oh, here's this grant. Oh, here's a grant for $5,000. Okay, great. Thanks. I got the $5,000. Okay, I flipped that. I did this. Now I need $50,000. Oh my gosh. Can you handle that? Like, what kind of question is that? You're asking me to be successful in the business. I took your money. I became successful. I'm asking for more. But there's a lot of almost like glass ceiling type of handouts.
Concrete.
Where it's like they want to help you, but only to a certain extent. And so
that's educational. We need that.
And I feel like it has to come from us. We have everything we need in our community. We have to realize that and circulate it more. When we talk about Harlem and, all of these things, like there were people who paved the way ahead of us who had nothing and mobilized to get what they needed. So, we just have to tap into those kind of things more.
We're going to tap in real quick to more about this mobilizing thing. I want to speak a little bit more about mobilizing and coming together. But before I go there, I just wanted to ask, because I know that both of y'all are both parents, what is it like running a business and still having to maintain, that part of life? You know what I'm saying? Still, being a parent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, it's hard. I have my children in the business. So when I started, I didn't have children. And then I have two young boys, 3 and 5. And it's just been a journey, to say the least. Because again, we are bootstrapping, we are actively working in our business. It's a lot of time away. And so, that becomes difficult. And just navigating
but
that.
How do you manage it? See, because the listener that's coming behind you, they want to hear how you manage it. It ain't like you just dealing with it. No, you manage it.
Transparency is still a work in progress. Okay. I'm still trying to figure out what that looks like. Okay. Because I haven't gotten it figured out. And I think also through different stages of the business, it may look different. So we're at another scaling point. It looks different now. Okay. So just giving yourself grace, to allow the changes to happen and not being hard on yourself. That's actually like the most important thing.
Yeah.
Well, you had it within the business. You had it before the business.
Yo, I've been dumb a long time. I've been dumb for a very long time. Bugged out. I'm bugged out. I'm bugged out. You know what's so funny? It's like, you know, I think my kids gave me focus, right? Like, when I had them, I was like, yeah, what are you actually doing, Jessica? Like, what's going on? And so a part of the start for Harlem Chocolate Factory is I joined this business plan competition. After we had our talk, I was like, yo, it's this business plan competition coming up. You keep working at your job. I clearly don't have one right now. I'm gonna do the business plan competition while I'm looking for work. And, but my daughter was like, how old was Evie? She was like 9 months when I started in the business plan competition. And from there, I was writing my business plan while mothering her. My son was like 3 years old. So it was insanity. It was absolute insanity. But looking at them, I will say, gave me a lot of focus. And it was like no days off, no nothing. And I'm a very active parent. Like I make lunch, little bento boxes, little cute little things, whatever. But what wound up happening is, as the business, like, we wound up winning that business plan competition for $15,000 to start Harlem Chocolate Factory. And that,
Talk to him.
yeah, I've been a bad a long time.
Okay.
But no, let me stop. What wound up happening is some of those things that I did as a parent had to come at a sacrifice, right? Like, I had to make peace with my kids' dad to have help. But, it just required me to like take a back seat in parenting for a while, which was unheard of for me. And then also when that got even rockier, like setting up my support system. I've never been intentional about my support system. Like, people like, oh, I'll watch your kids. I'm like, no, I don't need, like, I'm mom. Like, right? Like, I pick them up after school. We go into the museum. We go into the park. We doing this. I'm making dinner. I done prep my meal. And it's like, there's literally no longer enough time for that. So now I gotta be like, well, girl, you said that you was gonna give me that lasagna. Can you? Like, you know, and but then, and not feeling bad about that, right? Like, and setting up a system, and the support system in the school. I remember, like, you know, making sure like they have somewhere to be so I could go do these things. And if I gotta go out of town, if I gotta take a flight, like, who gonna take these kids? Like, who got this for me, and who's willing to help me down? And my community has done it. They matter, and they're very, very important, especially as women, when a bulk of that is on you. I remember going into business meeting and them being like, well, you're a single mom, so how are you gonna do this? Do you see these motherfuckers in the room with us? Like, clearly I figured something out. Like, but knowing, like, while that knack is against you, the reality is like, yo, I ran my household. You can't tell me about running no business, because when he was down, when he was out, and that check was short, I made sure that everything in this house was accounted for and taken care of. We had a very set schedule. Everybody ate for the week. Everybody got on clothes. Everybody, like, so what you talking to me about running a business? That would be a reprieve from my real life. And they sometimes can make you feel like you're less than for being a mother or being, a parent, and especially like a woman in that. And you just have to really make sure you're set within who you are as a parent, and not be, like Aisha was saying, like, giving yourself a lot of grace. So no, it don't look like me, making the bento box lunches no more.
Just out of curiosity, with knowing that, all right, we spoke about having a family and running a business, but we also are talking about women running a business. What are some of the obstacles that you had to get around, or do you feel like as women running a business, there's not enough help coming from men, or because now we're trying to understand what mobilization is like. Where are some of these blocks that's stopping us from connecting these dots? Where are they happening, and how is it that you guys deal with being a woman in this business?
Yeah, I think that there's twofold. Definitely on the business side, there's a lot of assumption of lack of intelligence because you are a woman. So that could be frustrating.
Sorry.
On the maybe not so business side, more like a social side, I feel like there's a lot of that's not a woman's place. It's like you're doing too much. You should kind of tone it down. There's a lot of like tone it down, I feel like when talking to women. So like all of those things. But I just feel like the resilience that we constantly display, and the proof is in what you do. So it's like all of these kind of like innate negatives against women, for so many different reasons, just continuing to shine and excel through those is the proof. Like this, you don't have to rebuttal. I'm gonna just show you.
Okay.
So
that was a classic answer. I think everybody has us fucked up. And when you really think of who is like running households, and who is when you run a household, it is really not different than running a business, because you have to manage everything. And really the strength of business is in that management. And it's not, I feel like sometimes with men, it gets into a battle, and it's like, I'm not here to battle you. I'm here for all of us to win. And you taking direction from a woman seems like that's more of a bother than you than anything that I'm specifically saying, right? Like you get accused of being masculine. It's like, first of all, I'm not masculine, I'm ghetto. Like it's not that, like that's not what's happening right now. Talk like, yeah. Retired crash out. I am a retired crash out. I'm classy this year, 2025. But I think that it just becomes this thing where I'm in a conversation. You don't respect my intelligence. So I'm spending more time explaining to you where I'm coming from, and you trying to reroute me. Well, I've been in meetings. Well, have you thought of maybe making a chocolate that kind of tells a different story in Harlem? Are you talking about the business that I currently run? I'm gonna smack the dog out of you. Like, or just sitting there in meetings. Have you thought of applying for a bank loan? No, I didn't think of that. Wow. That's amazing. Oh my God. Do you have any other stupid to say to me right now? And that's what conversations wind up turning into. And it's like, just actually, like, I've told you what I need help with. Help me with that. And I will say, I have the most amazing support system. I run into that more on the Caucasian side than within our community. Those conversations can be annoying, and I feel like that is what happens when you kind of go and lean into partnership more, and then it becomes this like battle of who's the bigger man. You got it, big homie, every time. But just listen.
When I got a chance to walk through, I had seen a lot of different ads, a lot of different posters of you guys all throughout Harlem, all throughout New York. There was like a campaign going on. Could you guys speak a little bit about what the campaign was about? Like, I'm seeing a lot about black businesses in Harlem. I see you guys were playing a big part in being represented. My boy Chio from the bakery, he was a part. I seen his logo and stuff up there too. Could you explain a little bit more about what that's about, or what it was about?
Yeah, I mean, we've actually to date, and let me talk for a second.
Please.
So, to date, I think across all social media and all media in general, we have somewhere around 2.5 billion impressions. The one thing that we've done well since the beginning of this business is market it.
Okay.
And marketing has been a really big part. And I would say it's not necessarily even marketing, just storytelling and connecting with people. So whenever someone is doing a campaign, they include us. So for us, our marketing strategy has always been about like genuine storytelling. I do think we were some of the first people to talk about and really dig our heels into like being a black owned business. So what happened, we was on the Today Show. No, when we opened up here, there was some rumor that some white man owned Harlem Chocolate Factory. People used to come in all the time whenever they had a complaint about us, whenever they had something, they would come and they would talk to us and be like, well, I know the owner. I'm like, well, damn, do ya? And it was always this nondescript white man. They was like, yeah, no, I met him last week. And I don't know if somebody was doing that or if they were just trying to like play a game. And that made us, I was like, yo, we need to put something on the door to say that we're black owned. And people were also coming in and they're like, you calling this Harlem Chocolate Factory, you talking about Harlem. Y'all even from here? Who are y'all? And I'm like, no, I grew up on 111th. Like I've lived here my whole life. I've been between 111th and 129th my entire life. Like I don't know nothing else. So what are you talking about? And I'm like, nah, we need to make a statement. So we got this little sign that said 100% black owned. And we went on the Today Show. They showed that sign in the thing, and that's when the death threats started. Like, I like literally, we start emails, calls, everything. Like
why would you have a sticker that says 100% black owned? What if I had a sticker that said 100% white owned? We were like, okay.
And this was in 2018. This is before this whole big whatever.
And I went back to see like how long was that zoom in? I mean,
seconds,
like a literal zoom by. So like you were you zoomed in on that?
Yeah.
Just to write us an email of hate.
Yo.
You're not talking about nothing else in the segment. Nothing.
They said they was gonna boom us when we went out the door. It was like, yo, I was like,
all about the 100%.
I didn't get,
and we were like, really?
It's crazy. All of that. And it was like, what wound up happening from there is I think that we were so authentically dedicated to what we were talking about. It was easy to include us in a campaign. Mm-hmm. Now, some of those campaigns did make it seem like they was doing a little bit more than they was doing, because then everybody started thinking we was rich, and I'm like, brother, you gonna rob me and be in debt? Like, so chill out.
But what about the chocolate? Like, let's speak a little bit on the because the ambiance in here, you know, I can't wait for you guys to come and check it out, man. The ambiance in here is very, very beautiful, very amazing. But if there are like some things that you guys could let the audience know, like what are some of the things that they could get when they pull up to the Harlem Chocolate Factory? What's like y'all favorites?
Like asking a favorite child. Let's see. I mean, it varies, you know, for children, you know, depending on how they act. But I always, forever, the whiskey truffle, our Uncle Nearest whiskey truffle is always gonna hit for me. That ganache is just amazing.
Where did you get some of the names from, if you don't mind me asking? Yeah,
so Jessica actually came up with a lot of these names, either reflecting parts of her childhood, or, you know, just like aspects of Harlem and its culture. We also, you know, really stand on freshness. And I think that's something that separates us from other chocolates that you may eat. We even get, you know, so many customers that come in here and some of them are trying to play us, and then others are, you know, really trying to learn, like, why is the price point this? Okay. And I always use it as a point, you know, for education, because, you know, it is fair trade, high quality chocolate. We are using fresh ingredients. We're not adding a bunch of preservatives. And those things come out in the taste. And those things are also of quality, so you will have to pay for quality.
I'm just out of curiosity, how I want to know, you know, hearing from y'all, how does that feel, knowing that, you know, I know you guys are still striving in a business, but if I'm not mistaken, how you pronounce it, Godiva?
Godiva.
Excuse me. Well, Godiva. Glad I pronounced it well. Godiva, why are people willing to pay for quote unquote certain name brands versus educating themselves on what's really rich and what's real chocolate? You know, this is why I'm doing this podcast.
Yeah.
Because I would like for you guys that I've seen next to me all of this time, you know what I mean, to educate people on something that I know, especially our culture, we really love and like, which is chocolate.
Yeah, I think that, like, especially, well, one thing about Godiva, right? Like, you know, during the pandemic, unfortunately, they closed down every store that they have in the US, but we stayed open. So I guess their quality, when people come in here and they, oh, the quality is Godiva. I was like, oh, well, they closed. And I didn't. So
talk to her
guess,
nice again.
you know, oh, that was cute. But I think that, unfortunately, this goes into Black consumerism. One, the quality is superior, right? Like, I'm not even battling with that. Come taste it. But the other element of it is when you come in, you see Black faces, you are unfortunately upset about a price point. You determine what you want to spend and people get upset. And that is just a remnant of, I guess we say, racism, Black consumerism, however, because when we priced everything, I've been in the chocolate industry my entire life. As a consumer, you know, eating it, pardon my bag, big bags.
You're not just buying,
I'm not just, I'm a researcher, you know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm at the grocery store, like, I'm going to the chocolate aisle to check the price point, to see what people are doing, to look at what's going on. If I go to a new city, I'm going to the chocolate shop. That's a part of my stop. And I will tell you, we are reasonably priced for what we're doing. But what happens, people will come in here and be like, I'm like, you spent twice as much at Godiva than when you come here. So what are you talking about? And I realize, I'm like, oh, it doesn't have anything to do with that. You're concerned about whether or not our quality is there. You're concerned whether or not we're cheating you. You're concerned, so we really had to develop a customer service process to disarm people against that kind of visceral reaction. Because I'm like, we can't be in here arguing. As a retired crash out, you know, it was very difficult in the beginning because crashing out was the first thing that I wanted to do. Like, what you mean? What these balls are? Like, I'm like, oh.
$350 for one of these balls? Like, wait, hold on. So
all right.
first of all,
I'm about to smack your face into the counter. Violation, like, it's just violating, like, so what y'all doing in here? Like, I don't know. But I think when we sat down, I'm like, everybody can't be having the same reaction. So what is it? And how do we identify it? And we still get those same questions, but we have a response for it, and it allows people. And some of our best customers have been people who started like that. We had this boy walk in one time and he was like, $350. Let me just get one. Yo, I wish we had the camera for it. He walked outside. Within 2 seconds, you heard him like, hey, yo, and he turned right back around. Let me buy 12, and consistently all the time. And so I think that, like, it's just something that happens, but we try to come up with a process for it. Like, the quality is there. We, argue with your mama.
When it comes to, we kind of like getting towards the end of the interview, when you are trying to like market and involve yourself in the community, how do you see the Harlem Chocolate Factory putting itself out there? Because I know that that's kind of tough, margins. There's a lot of different things that, when you have ideas and businesses and you're trying to raise capital, etc. I know that there's a lot of difficulty, but you guys being able to have a brick and mortar in Harlem, how do you connect yourself with seeing yourself out there in the community?
I view our presence as a contribution, and a major one. Us continuing to be open and continuing to be here speaks volumes.
Yes, it does.
Also, in participating, in what ways we can. We do a lot of, if there is a community event, maybe we can't physically be there, but we could give a product. Maybe we could collaborate, in different ways. So there's always a way to intertwine community involvement and a way to be present, even if your time is limited, your money is limited, all of those things. There's a way, even if it's not the way you want to be, to the fullest of your capability.
Yeah, I mean, for this season, we didn't charge anyone for hot chocolate this season. Everyone has been able to come here. We figured out a model for it, and we give out our hot chocolate. We'll pull up to a community event and give out hot chocolate. And I mean, we can do that now. We're a little bit bigger, you know, maybe in the beginning days. And it's like, you have to temper what we want to do. For me, I did this for the first iteration of Harlem Chocolate Factory. We were supposed to start a program for single moms to be able to get off of welfare and everything. And it's like, I still want to do that. I don't have the financial means to do that yet, but every step we take is to get there, right? Like, this was built for Harlem. And over the last few years with fundraising, with everything, and being honestly rejected by the structure in the Capitol, what we've decided to do for this year is turn to the hood. So we have several different collaborations that we're about to do this year, just tapping back into our network, our community. And I figured like the hood just gonna make this happen. Like, that's where I'm from. That's how we always, like, I grew up in everybody's house, right? Like, people saw my mother alone. My father died when I was young. And I was just in the house by myself. And so people, like, other people's moms was like, nah, she could come to my house. And that's how I was brought up. Like, literally going upstairs, home after school. I didn't have nothing to eat. Somebody being like, come here, you could eat some dinner. Not because I'm not being taken care of, but it's a lot, you know? And I think that is the aspect that I was like, no, we got to do it in this structure. And it's like, no, we did this for Harlem. Harlem is going to take care of us. That's how we opened up after COVID. Like, people literally writing us emails. And when the first day we opened, there was a line around the corner. And so I'm like, yo, you know what? We're going to show people how this happens. So we don't have every detail worked out, but this is a community business and the community will help it grow.
Well, the Harlem that I come from, that I grew up in my whole life, I know that we are capable of sticking together. So that is something that I am looking forward to. I'm glad that you guys took the time out to have this conversation.
No, thank you for having us. This is so much. I was running down on him all the time. I ran down. I was like, yo, I just seen the new episode. Like,
he did the Yeti episode. He came in here. He was like, no, we gotta have something. Like, I want y'all on there. So you put the bug in our ear a couple months ago.
But I need y'all.
We finally here.
I need y'all to let them know what can they experience. What can they look forward to, rather, coming from the Harlem Chocolate Factory.
Well, we gonna say it. We gonna say it.
Give them too much.
We gonna say it. You know what I'm saying?
You could figure out how to word play it and test them a little bit, just a little.
So we have on the docket, we have a second location that we're working on. Wait, I feel like we can say that. We can say that. So we're opening up a second location at the airport at JFK in Terminal 8. Yes, the store. Yes, exactly. So whenever anybody is coming through JFK, you're going to see a big ode to Harlem in the middle of the airport. And we have some chocolate bars that we're collaborating with a few people. We can't announce those people yet, but the first one, the boxes actually just went to print. So I'm super excited. Stay tuned. And it's going to be a really dope fly year. And I'm not crashing out no more. So look at us.
Where can they find y'all at?
So you can find us here in Harlem, between 138th and 139th on 7th Avenue.
Adam Clayton Powell for some of y'all on Google.
We're also in the Smithsonian in DC, in the African American Museum.
Talk to her
now. We are in Nilu, which is a Harlem Black-owned gift shop. We are in the Met. We are in, I'm forgetting, there's so many.
The Central Park Conservatory. Yeah.
We want all of that.
We can find a list of these things on our website. She has to list every vendor. That's crazy.
Listen, I'm the only listing the big ones. There's actually a whole lot.
That's what's up.
Let me shut my ass up.
What about y'all social medias? Please tell them what y'all social medias are.
Yeah, we're on socials at Harlem Chocolate Factory, on Instagram. Do we have a LinkedIn also? Facebook, TikTok. All of that, Harlem Chocolate Factory.
Definitely find us on the website.
Yeah, harlemchocolatefactory.com. Yeah.
Ship straight to your home.
Straight to your home. Nice, fresh, good chocolate. You heard? Straight from Harlem. But yo,
Yeah.
man, I appreciate y'all for taking
No,
the time
thank you,
out
Butta.
to
Thank you.
educate my listeners, the followers, the people that, I'm trying to help see that black businesses is on the rise,
Yeah.
that if there's enough of us, we can eventually start building and doing business together, collaborating, things of that nature. I'm happy to hear that y'all are already on that route and in that way. But, there's people like MasterCard, American Express, they're investing into black businesses and things of that nature. So I just wanted to give them some content so that they'll know where to look at.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.
Boy, Butta, man, I'm back outside. You already know I'm in Harlem, the chocolate factory.
Streets. Yeah, this one's for the streets first. Stripes like a referee shirt. This one's for the streets first. Tell mama this the rebirth. I need church. I talk dirty, but my hands and my feet work.